Hello, my dear students. Now, today I am going to teach you about food chain and food web. Now, it is the continuation of my previous video, the ecosystem. Okay, this is part 2 of that video. Now, biotic components are linked to each other primarily by food and forms food chain or food web. Now, let us understand what is the food chain. Now, if you can see over here, a series of organisms that are linked to each other through the process of eating and being eaten forms the food chain. Now, for example, in a typical food chain, the plant are the producer. Now, if you can see over here, plant is eaten by the grasshopper, which is the primary consumer. Then grasshopper is eaten by the bluebird, which is the secondary consumer, which is in turn is eaten by snake. Snake is the tertiary consumer, and then snake is eaten by the owl, right? Now, when the owl dies, its body decomposes by microorganisms such as fungi and bacteria into simpler nutrients, which are returned to the soil for reuse by plant. Okay, so thus a food chain of eating and being eaten is formed. Understood? So you understood what is a food chain? It is the process of eating and being eaten. Okay. Now, some example of food chain are like in the forest ecosystem. What kind of food chain occur? Now here the grass is eaten by the herbivore, that is the deer, and then deer is eaten by the lion, which is the carnivore. Okay, so I hope it is clear. The food chain is clear to everyone. Now the food chain can be like having 3 link, can have 4 link, and can have 5 link. Now example of 3 link is corn being eaten by rat and rat being eaten by owl. The example of 4 link is carrot being eaten by rabbit, rabbit being eaten by fox, and then fox is eaten by the lion, right? Okay. And 5 link is grass, which is the producer, is eaten by grasshopper, primary consumer. Then that is eaten by frog, that is the secondary consumer. Frog is eaten by the python, the tertiary consumer, and python is eaten by the eagle, that is the predator, right? Understood? Is it clear to everyone? Now moving further. Now what is a food web? Food web is nothing. It is just an interconnected. Now let us understand what is food web. Now food web is nothing. It is just interconnected food chain. Okay. Now most consumers have more than one source of food. Frog eat caterpillar besides grasshopper. Snake eat rabbit as well as lizard, mice and rat. Rat are also eaten by hawk. Thus a plant, an animal, may be a part of several food chain, right? Now several food chain interconnected forms the food web. Now I'll explain you with this chain. Okay, you can see over here interconnected network over here. Now I'll explain you what is it. Now the primary source of food are the producer, that is the green plant. Now first you can see on the top, green plant are eaten by goat, goat is eaten by jackal, and jackal is eaten by lion. Now below that you see plant are also eaten by rabbit. Now rabbit can be eaten either by jackal or by wildcat, and then both of them can be eaten by lion, right? The third one over, you can see plant is eaten by mouse. Mouse can be eaten by the wildcat, can be eaten by owl, can be eaten by snake. Any one of the animal can eat it. And then what happened? Then the snake is eaten by the kite. Okay. And also you can see the wildcat is eaten by lion. So it is actually, what is this? It is interconnected. The interconnected food chain is also known as food web. Understood? Now moving further. Now I'll be explaining you the flow of energy in the food chain. How does energy flow? Now as all green plants that are the producer can trap energy from the sun. All food chains start with plant. We know that. Thus solar energy is transferred through food chain. Okay. Now green plant converts solar energy into chemical energy present in the food. Some energy gets stored in plant while rest of is used by them. When plants are eaten by herbivores, the energy stored in them is transferred to the herbivore. Again, herbivores use some of the energy for their activities and store a part of it in their body. This stored energy is further transferred to carnivores when they eat the herbivore. Then what happened? One organism eat the other organism. Energy pass on from producer to herbivore, herbivore to carnivores. Understood? So we can see that the amount of energy that is transferred from one animal to another decreases at each level. Okay. So energy is not 100% transferred from one level to another level, but it is decreased. Right. Now over here, what like I am explaining you again. Now, how do we start? We start with the solar energy from the sun is taken up by the producer. By the process of photosynthesis, they make the food, right? Then what happens? That is eaten by the primary consumer. They eat producer for nutrient and energy. Then they are eaten by secondary consumer. They eat primary consumer for nutrient and energy. Then tertiary consumer eats secondary consumer for nutrient and energy. And then decomposer recycle dead organic waste, that is the biomass, and then it is transferred back to the producer in the form of manure, right? So this is how, and at each topic level, the energy is transferred from one to the other, right? Now, what is trophic level? I'll be explaining you this. Now, over here you can see this is in the form of pyramid. This is also known as pyramid of number. Okay. Now, over here, the first trophic level are the producer or the green plant. The second trophic level are the primary consumer, that is the herbivores. And the third trophic level are the secondary consumer, that is the carnivores. And the fourth trophic level are the, yes, they are the tertiary consumer or the secondary carnivores. And the apex are the predator. Predator are vulture, eagle, lion, and tiger. Okay, understood? So this is all about the trophic level. The various steps represent organism in the food chain at which transfer of energy and food takes place is called trophic level. Now the various trophic level are green plant or producer that fix the solar energy constitute the first trophic level. Herbivores or primary consumers second constitute the secondary trophic level. For example, snail, rabbit, deer and goat. Carnivores or secondary consumer that feed on the herbivores are the third trophic level. For example, snake, frog, small birds and small fishes. And large carnivores or tertiary consumers feed the they forms the fourth trophic level. Understood? Clear to everyone? Okay. Now this is a small example to make you explain the trophic level. Now the green plant are the producer. They are the first trophic level. Then they are eaten by the grasshopper. That are the herbivores. They form the secondary trophic level. Then they are eaten by the birds. They form the tertiary trophic level, or they are also the carnivores. And then they are eaten by the eagle. They forms the fourth trophic level. Okay, so they can be eaten by eagle or hawk. Okay, any big bird. So they forms the fourth trophic level, and they are the top carnivores. Is it clear to everyone? So if you liked my video, please do share, subscribe to my channel, and in my next video I'll be teaching you about the abiotic component that will complete this topic of the ecosystem. Thank you so much.